thing. Let me roll into this. Um, Today on Open Loops, we have Kimberly Meredith, bestselling author, world renowned medical medium and healer who has helped thousands of people from around the world. And yes, there was an accident resulting in two near death experiences where she had an awakening, receiving miraculous healing gifts from the Holy Spirit, numerous research institutes, including the IONS, the Institute of Noetic Sciences, which I love reading about. They've scientifically validated Kimberly's abilities, and she hosts a syndicated radio hit show, the Medical Intuitive Miracle Show. But in addition to all the appearances she does on various podcasts and nationally syndicated radio shows, her book and audiobook, Awakening to the Fifth Dimension, Discovering the Soul's Path, to Healing, which I have right here, sold everywhere books are sold. It is a very, I was going to say it's a great read for anybody that really wants to understand the ascension that is happening outside of the awareness you might not have until you read that book. So it's happening all around us. That was a little bit hypnotic there, but yes, I very much enjoyed reading it, and I am honored. Kimberly, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg, for having me here. I'm really happy to be here and to help people understand about the fifth dimension and the way that I view it, and to have a conversation about this.
Yeah, it is a buzzword being thrown around these days, right? People talk about going into the 5D. And I know it well, I'm curious what your thoughts are. I mean, how would you explain? We'll keep it very basic to start. What is your interpretation of the fifth dimension and going into the 5D?
I mean, there's many ways to look at it, and that's why the book has many different chapters about who I am. Why would you even want to read about it for me? What I went through to experience the fifth dimension, why the fifth dimension came to me, because I never even cared about science or fifth dimensional theories or why I would be talking about the fifth dimension until I had my near death experience and I was healed in a fifth dimensional state of consciousness.
Yeah.
Because you can't really experience, I talk about the fifth dimension less scientifically and more about being in this dimension. There's many dimensions. There's an infinite amount of dimensions that we can live in. But to be in a fifth dimensional state of frequency is a beginning. And where we are in right now, we are in a dimension of a fifth dimension. We're in the Aquarian age right now, but we are
Yeah.
choosing to live in a third dimensional frequency, which 3D is fear, worry, dis-ease, um, anguish, as we're experiencing right now, the climate crisis. I talk about
Yes.
it in the book. The water that's really got lots of pollution in it, fossil
That was a
fuel.
scary section for me in the book. I was thinking, oh my gosh, how many filters do I need to buy right now? But yes,
Yeah.
it's all in there.
So I talk about the third dimension a lot in the book and how to have. So the fifth dimension, is a really um, amazing energy to be in. It's a dimension of miracles, unconditional forgiveness, unconditional love. Um, it's where miracles can happen instantaneously. Um, a non scientific approach to talking about it. It's where all time and space has no time and space limit. It's where instantaneous miracles can happen. It's where I live in. I do this work in the fifth dimension daily. I have a
Yeah.
practice in LA. But more importantly, it's where I was healed in this dimension. I suffered many, many injuries in 2013 and I had a car accident, but we can get in that. But anyway, the fifth dimension is where miracles can happen instantaneously.
Miracles can happen instantaneously. So you said you live in it. Do we think that most people are going in and out of it on a daily basis, but they're what keeps them living in the third dimension rather than accessing these things? Because, yeah, I'm sure miracles have happened in my life, but, and people later point out, well, that was pretty intuitive of you that you knew that. I'm going, huh. Does that mean I'm psychic? Is that a fifth dimensional moment? I mean, what is your state on the current psyche of the populace when it comes to going in and out of the dimensions?
I don't know. You'd have to rephrase that question.
Okay, I guess what I mean is that are more people going into the fifth dimension on a daily basis than they're aware of?
I'm not sure. I think most people are stuck in the third dimension, but
Yeah,
many people are learning, I guess, if they practice fifth dimensional meditation and want to learn to be in the fifth dimension. I mean, that's why I wrote the book so people could learn.
yeah,
And
yeah,
many people are learning that.
yeah,
You're asking that question.
yeah. No, no, no. And again, I guess I'm wondering, where miracles happen. It's some people have told me, Kimberly, that you have to be, and you talk about this a lot in the book. You have to be open to the idea of miracles in your life. You have to actually say the miraculous is possible before you can start witnessing miracles. Um, so I guess, I'm curious in your experience when, and I know you teach classes on remote viewing and you work with people that might not, they like you, they didn't have this awareness that this world of miracles even existed. Um, how quickly can people realize, based on your classes, that there is something greater than this 3D reality, I guess? How quickly can people really see it in your experience?
Well, I think it's all depends on a person if they're expecting miracles or they're,
Mm,
I mean, I don't think the fifth dimension is, I think people are really excited about moving forward right now in their lives. And I
yes.
don't know if you're basing it just on my classes. I think people have, everybody has a different experience in their life right now. And it depends on whether you're, if it's emotional, physical, um, ailment going on in your life. But I think if you're open and you're ready to have a shift, which I think the world is ready right now to move into a shift, but I think we're also being forced to move into a shift, and no
Hmm.
matter no matter what, um, we can't stop the shift. The shift is already happening.
Right.
So, uh, you know,
We're just going to see a lot more miracles, you think, in general, because of the world
when you
moving.
know that you're accepting um, this energy, which is non-stoppable, it's the Holy Spirit,
Yeah.
and Christ consciousness is here. It's just, you're automatically receiving it. So many people that don't want to have a shift in their life, the positive shift, then they're not ready to receive it. So
Yeah.
anyway,
No, no,
yeah,
no. That's you're absolutely right. And clearly, I mean, you were ready to receive it. I did want to delve into it because, I mean, I've heard you describe being in a wheelchair and like really, I mean, just um to be where you are now as mobile, going to as many conferences and appearances and doing what you're doing. There was a period of time where you didn't think that was going to be a thing for you. So I'm curious, can you talk a little bit about, how bad was it before you came to realize where you are now?
well, I never knew I was going to be a public speaker.
Yeah.
I didn't even know anything was going to happen. So I didn't go through wondering about that. It just all kind of started rapidly opening up my gifts. I was born with blinking eyes, so I had abilities when I was a child, and then they left, and then they woke back up again after my near death experience. So, how I became a public speaker was me just being me and learning how to become a medical medium through the guides teaching me. And I once that happened and I was discovered through producers having elements in their body and me channeling and knowing where they were. So how I got into these expos was not through having a book. I
Yeah.
wasn't the way that normal people go into being into expos and speaking events, usually an author first, and then you get into the events. But how I got in was word of mouth throughout Los Angeles that there was this blinking eye medical medium that was finding ailments in hundreds of people in her apartment. And I was
It's
doing
amazing.
healings and mediumship readings out of my apartment and not really knowing if I was going to keep the apartment because I was very, very sick out of my wheelchair. And I was not really holding my head up very well. And I was, I was an ex actress, I was an ex medical technical advisor, and pretty much thinking I was going to, just stay living here until this man called me and said, "Do you want an office out of my healing center?" And I said, "Yeah, I think it's a pretty good idea. I don't want these people coming in my home." Not that I was, against people coming in my home, but it was getting to be a little too much.
Right, right.
So I moved into his healing center and he didn't charge much until one day, one of the expo producers, Los Angeles Conscious Expo, one of the biggest expos in the country, came to me and she said, let me see, like an audition kind of, let me see what you know
Yeah.
about me. And, it's kind of interesting about me. After I had the NDEs, many seizures, I've had many seizures after a near death experience and brain traumas. Um, God made me, I would like to say, simple,
Hmm.
meaning before the accident, I was much more, I'd say, my personality was going out to these like malls and running around. Things were different for me. I wasn't as like I am now. I'm very different. I'm now lead a whole different life as you read in the book. I'm devoted to the Holy Spirit, to God. And so this was back in 2016, 17. So when she came in, the man that owned the healing center, he said, "You're not to leave my healing center." I'll never forget it. He pointed at me. "You're only to stay here." And I was like, "Why?" He says, "Because this center is going to be your home where you're safe." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, we want you to be here." And
Wow.
I was, wow. But when he said that to me, I heard God say, "No, you're to go out and let people know about you." So she said, "Scan my body." So I scanned her body and I heard, this is the first time it started happening. I heard a lump, breast lump in her. I said, "Oh, they're telling me you have a lump in your breast." She says, "I do." And I heard God, my eyes blinked, "Take it out." So I put my hand on her. I started to do the praying and it left. She says, "Do you want to be in our expo?" I said, "What's an expo?" I didn't know. She said, "It's a place where you can come and do your healing and the event and people can come watch you." I said, "That sounds nice." And she says, "Yeah." She goes, "And you can sell tickets." And I said, "Oh, okay." She says, "Yeah." Next thing I know, I told the owner, I says, "I'm going to go to the expo." Says, "No, no, you're going to get too known and you're going to leave me."
Yeah.
So wait. So I went to the expo. Next thing I know, I'm in the expo, hundreds of people there. I'm with Marianne Williamson, all
Wow.
these people. I didn't know who they were. 2017. I said, "What am I doing here?" I go in, it says Kimberly Meredith. They put a banner up, Channels of Holy Spirit. I go in the room, hundreds of people. I didn't know. I didn't even know I was supposed to get paid. So that's how it all started. I
Yeah.
went in, I started channeling, talking in angel language, da, ba, da, ba, da, 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 and then I started doing what God told me to do. Now, after that, it blew up. And I didn't know I was even supposed to get paid. Everything about this has been organically
Wow.
given to me from the Holy Spirit. But remember, I was born with eyes that blinked and communication from the other side. And I pushed it away because I was told it was naughty by my mother. So, anyway, this woman that I healed, she was one of the main producers. Then I did one in New York. Then Alan Steinfeld took me to some places also to do it. He found me at the expo, and then more and more. So it just kind of spun off, and then magazines. So often people ask me, who is your publicist? I say the Holy Spirit.
That's pretty good. Yeah, yeah. So wait a minute. At what point I'm missing a piece in the story. What was the miracle that happened that was able to get you out of the wheelchair?
I healed myself.
Oh wow. I don't know who's listening to this, but I'm wondering
The
if
Holy Spirit, through the Holy Spirit.
wow. So yeah,
I, I still, for many years though, I'd say I still use the wheelchair to go to different, with plane rides and traveling. I would go in and out of the wheelchair. I'd stay up until about 3 years ago.
that's remarkable. That's remarkable. And I think that can give a lot of people hope. Um, for sure. I'm very curious about the blinking eyes. I mean, it's so fascinating, and I'm curious about it because I'm coming from the perspective of knowing that the eyes are a gateway, especially from my hypnosis background. I mean, when you're training in hypnosis, they talk about really when you can connect with someone in the eyes. I mean, getting someone into a trance state allows a lot more things to happen than just like speaking at them. So I mean, I'm so fascinated by the blinking. Let's start with your childhood. I mean, when did you know the blinking eyes were connected to something as a kid, something
Yeah.
greater?
I don't really know that much, Greg. I just know that when I was my grandfather built yachts with a famous director, and he was really obsessed with filming, and he would play around with cameras. And he saw me blinking a lot when I was a baby in the crib, and he would take videos of me doing this fluttering, and they would say, oh, she's like a butterfly, she's fluttering her eyes.
Wow.
But my grandfather and grandmother um, didn't think anything was wrong with it. They just thought that I would do this fluttering going on. And then when I was really little, I had all these paranormal abilities that I would do. And I just always felt connected to spirit through my eye blinking. And I always did healing. I'd rub my hands together and heal animals. I was healing my grandmother at a very young age. She had asthma, and I would put
Yeah.
my hand on her chest, heal little birds that had died. I would bring them back. I'd want to put my mouth on little animals to blow into their mouth and bring oxygen back.
Wow.
And I would do all these things. And I brought my dog back to life when it had died when I
Did,
was young.
did your parents look at that and say, "Wow, this is amazing"? I
Uh,
mean,
yes,
yeah.
blinking was going on a lot up until the age of 7. When I stopped it, I forced the blinking stop. This is spontaneous connection to spirit. And after the near death experience, I was blown away that all of a sudden it went dun, 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 and it started
Right.
happening. Not only did the blinking start, it wasn't like blinking, blinking, blinking like you're talking hypnosis blinking. It was, this is code blinking. It was like, oh,
Yes.
3 blinks is going to mean this, 2 blinks is going to mean that. And as I started to learn over people's bodies and they tested me, I would say, oh, this is meaning a hernia. This is a cancer. This is this and that. And this is that. And as I do my information, I started learning what meant what and what was going here and what was that. And now it's only been a few years. I'm even getting more downloads with certain things. Now I'm speaking to the other side more. What, oh, sometimes I'll be on a session and someone, a husband will come in when I'm doing a reading for health. And I'll be talking to a lady and I'll say, oh, they're telling me you have a thyroid condition. So they're blinking thyroid. And she says, yes. And I'll say, oh my gosh, I have someone coming in right now. It feels like it's a man. She'll go, yes. And I see a figure 8 over your head. They're blinking 8 to me. And I see the 8. And she'll say, yes. And I said, 8 means soulmate. She'll go, yes. My husband just died and he was my soulmate.
Wow.
So they're coming in numbers and blinking the number with the afterlife. I wasn't doing any afterlife information 7 years ago.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, the medical intuitive, but then once you're called like a medical medium, then that usually implies that you're connecting with the other side.
So now, like, my title has completely gone out there. Like, now it's like a medical medium, but now it's like love never dies. It's like now they want to talk. The other side is like, well, let's just use her to talk to the afterlife also. We want to do the medical mediumship scan. It's like now the mother wants to come in that died to talk to this. So if they lost their son, say a mother lost their son, the
Yeah.
son wants to come into the session and talk to their mom.
Interesting. That's very interesting. That's very, yeah, I know you have a lot of at the end of the book, there's like a lot of case studies, but I can't imagine that there won't be another book where you could just fill chapters with these different scenarios because this is, I mean, it sounds remarkable. Are you surprised? Like, what's the? I know this might be putting you on the spot, but what's the last like time you were really surprised by your abilities? Do you have a recent case when you were working with someone where you went, "Whoa, I didn't expect that uncle to come through"?
Um, I'm always surprised, especially in my in-person sessions too. And I know that I'm getting ready to go to New Living Expo, which I'm sure I'll get thrown off my feet, probably
Yeah.
on stage. The in-person events, I had a lady yesterday at my virtual event. She was crying. She says, oh my God, the last time I saw you in New York City, I couldn't handle being there. I was falling off, the floor. She goes, the in-person events are really amazing. And I'm like, that's funny because I don't remember them, because I'm not
Oh.
there. Like, they take over my body and I don't remember much about my in-person events, and because they're using me to do what they want to do at the events, and they just take it over. They take me over and they do what they want to do. And so people are really completely shifted and healed in these in-person events. So I feel like if you are available and you're in the area, please come, because this is not for me in any means. They're using me to help you, and they want to help you guys. And also, um, I'd say the most amazing thing just happened recently, where a woman found out about me through Dr. Joe Dispenza. A lot of people come
Hmm.
to me through Dispenza because he does a little bit of similar work than I do. A lot of co-healing energy groups that I love to do.
Yeah.
And some of them, and I'm friends with some of his friends, and a lot of them go to those beautiful groups, and then they'll find me and come to me. And together we had rubbed our hands together, called in the spirit. And I like to speak in Hebrew sometimes. So I was chanting in some Hebrew prayers and she was chanting, and we just dismissed a lump. I have a thing for getting lumps and off the breast, and we did that. And at the same time, she also had a node on her throat, and we didn't even touch it. It just flew off.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was so cool. And this is the fifth dimension. This is where they want us to go. And then she also didn't know, I didn't, a lot of people just, it's not our fault. They just don't know, like, don't drink tap water. Just people are still out there drinking that.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, you definitely have a lot of great health recommendations in the book in general, and some stuff I didn't even know about cleansing. That yeah, that you kind of correct some of the things that I don't know I took for granted from healers, and also advise people to still go see doctors. Like that's yeah, you know what? Talk about that. I'm curious, Kimberly. Where do you see? How do you see mainstream medicine working alongside fifth dimensional consciousness?
I love it because I grew up, when I was young, I like when I was young, I I still have some of my best friends are doctors and I love them and they don't get enough, you know, honoring out there. They work so hard. They're out there and like, me too, I'm out there in my office and helping people and I get a lot of doctors to come to me. And sometimes, I'm the investigator when people can't find what's going on with the MRI machines and CAT scans. And some of them will send clients to me. And then I say to people, you know, there are some things I don't agree with that's happening in the medical industry. And there's some things that I'm saying, don't get rid of things that you're doing with them. We can all work together. And
Yes.
we need to honor the medical Western medicine also and the holistic community. And we work together. I work a lot with doctors and they work with me. And I feel there's a happy medium. And when I had my accident, there was a couple of doctors that I had worked with Cedars. They sat in my room with me every night and prayed. And I feel that their views are open right now and they're getting more open to the holistic practices. And I don't feel that energy like I used to feel. I don't feel that dense 3D energy any as much as it used to be. I really don't. I feel a shift going on and it's a real positive shift. And I do feel it's going to get even more and more positive.
Yeah, yeah. That's good because there are a lot of people out there that are they're talking about the split in timelines and consciousness and well, we all gotta make come to the right decision. It's either gonna be this one way where everybody's like living in this more in what you described, this fifth dimensional, we're all co-creating
I,
business. Yeah, what do you think about that?
I personally work with some very big medical people in the LA area at some of the biggest hospitals in Los Angeles, and I personally know that they are leaning more toward they are leaning more towards holistic pathway,
Yes.
and that's amazing because I came from Cedar Sinai. That's where I worked right before my accident, and I came from UCLA Medical Center. That's
Wow.
the two
Yeah.
places I've worked at. And some of the people I know over there, they've got Reiki going on at the hospital. They're really shifting, and I'm really happy and excited for this.
Yes, yes. I think it's so cool. The other thing that I think is very interesting is your experience getting these abilities getting measured. Yeah, you talk about how Dr. C. Norm Shealy, as well as the Institute of Noetic Sciences, which founded by Edgar Mitchell, great Apollo astronaut who was very open to these abilities a lot earlier than now. Um, can you talk about those experiences and what it was like being tested by these scientists and what they discovered about you?
Yes, I stayed there a few weeks and I felt he had just crossed over. I felt his energy around me actually.
Edgar Mitchell, that is.
Like,
Oh
um,
wow.
yeah, my brain goes so fast and the testing was super cool. And I'm actually probably going to go back and do a little bit more with some other research studies. I felt it was really good. I felt it worked out really amazing. They wrote some really great letters saying that I was the exceptional one there, which was really nice of them. I do want to go back and do some more testing on some certain cancer studies. And yes, then I did another one at the SciTech Research Institute where we actually put numerous patients in a before and after uh, um, x-ray studies showing how they were after the healing and before the healings. And it was a massive shift, which was so amazing.
Yeah. So
That is
that's
like cool. That's what happens a lot, which is amazing.
yes. I mean, it is it's very remarkable and it's very remarkable to
At
get
Ion. sorry, at ions, it was me finding every single thing in their body with them writing out everything first. And then same thing with Dr. Shealy, was over like 19 or 20 studies that they come in a room, and Norm and ions are super, super strict. And I find everything in the body. They write down everything, and then I write everything in the body before. Uh,
That's incredible. I mean, what in the world can we train other people to do this too? I mean, is this like I don't know, Edgar Mitchell? Oh no, Edgar Casey never had classes on this, but like what do you think about that ability?
Yeah, on Thursday nights, I have my standard mediumship reading classes, and I've had it for about over a year. And some of the people that have been my students, they watch what I do, and we're going to start doing some training classes on mediumship readings. And my guides are saying that we are going to be teaching the psychic surgeries, the ability to open up your telepathic communication. I also want to just mention something that I don't talk about in my book, which is somebody that's really special to me, which is my father. My
Oh.
father passed away when I was young, so did my mother, but my dad had telepathy.
Now, what does that mean exactly? Yeah, I got to hear an example of when that came.
Telepathy is someone that can read your mind.
Right.
And
But did it like he really, I mean, how did you yeah, what's an example growing up when he did that?
he would do telepathic exercises with me when I was about
What?
8 years old. So he was extremely intuitive. He was a genius. In my eyes, he was a genius.
Did he come from a lineage of people with these special skills? I mean, how did he
No,
or
but my great grandmother was. My great grandmother on my mom's side was a shaman and a healer. But my dad was super, super intelligent, and he none of the other kids could do it with him, but I did it. I would do it with my dad.
wow. I'm
So
now
he knew
fascinated.
he knew he knew I could do it. So he would do it with me. But the thing is really weird, I was not good at math.
Hmm.
I had a hard time at math. I struggled, but I was really good at the telepathic exercises. So it was really cool.
Yeah. Did you know them? Did you, I mean, I'm wondering about your awareness that it even was telepathy, or was it just like a fun thing you
No,
did with your
I
father?
didn't know. I didn't know anything about it. No, he was just doing them with me to see how I was responding with him.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting.
He would do it with all of his kids, but none of the other my sisters or brothers were, into it really. My brothers were into road biking and fishing and camping.
Yeah. That's so interesting that he was interested in telepathic or even believed that that was possible.
Oh, my dad was super cool. Yeah, he was really into like astrology and numbers and really into all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
wonder if that's what also, look, to be able to not first of all, some people would just stop at near death experience, right? Like I've definitely I've interviewed people, I've spoken with people that would be on a guest that would be a guest on a show like this just to talk about that, but to have the experience to heal yourself, to become psychic, and then to become like a medium that specializes in getting into medical diagnosis of people. I mean, that's next level ascension. Kimberly, I'm almost wondering, are you looking to find out what your next ability is? I mean, why do you think that it went so deeply profound for you in your growth as a light being?
I have no idea. And it's really interesting because all of it's through the Holy Spirit. And whether I want to do it or not, they just like, I don't know, you ever see Rain Man?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
a lot like Rain Man. Like, so if you put me in a group of other mediums, because I'm in a lot of medium groups,
Of course. Yeah.
I'll be in a group of mediums. Everyone has their own way of doing mediumship. And with me, I will do a reading. So there'll be like other mediums, and I'll have a reading on somebody. And then I will fixate. The guys will fixate. It's like Edgar Casey had his way of doing it. He puts himself to sleep. I have my own way. Tyler Henry, I don't know if he's a Hollywood medium. He'll scribble. Everyone has their own way. So if I fixate on something on someone, they'll keep saying it over and over again. They'll be like, well, your thyroid. They're telling me your thyroid needs to be checked. They're telling me your thyroid needs to be checked. And the person will go, no, there's nothing wrong with my thyroid. There's nothing wrong with my thyroid. And my guides will keep saying, the thyroid needs to be checked. I'll keep hearing, her thyroid needs to be checked. Her thyroid needs to be checked. And then I'll get hot flashes. And then they'll go to the next thing. And then later on, I'll get an email from the lady saying, after that class, I couldn't stop hearing your voice. So I went to the doctor. I have 4th-stage thyroid cancer.
Holy moly.
But like if I get something like that and it's going over and over, it's like a Rain Man thing, like over and over and over.
Yes,
That's the
yes.
hits I get, like that, like that. But if someone wants to scan with me, like they get on a Skype with me or something, and I go through everything in your body, they're gonna go through every single little thing in your body. Even if something happened like 20 years ago, they're gonna point it out. But if something repetitious going on, then that's something I always tell people, go get it checked out. Go get it checked out.
Do you, is it something you, I mean, because I've heard you say before
If
that,
they're telling me it.
right, it's
Yeah.
not something you, but I can imagine, like, how does it not disrupt your regular life? Like, how are you not looking at me right now? I mean, maybe you are
But
and
I
I'm
just
scared
wanted to
already.
say, when you said I'm diagnosing it, I'm not diagnosing it. The guy is
Ah,
saying it. Yeah, the guy
fair,
is
fair
saying
enough. Okay, do they ever let you enjoy a night out without having intuitive messages? I mean, how does, how do your guides know boundaries? Do they know boundaries,
yeah,
Kimberly?
yeah, they do.
Okay, that's good. I was gonna say you don't want to go to like every party and all of a sudden you're just like looking at people left and right, thyroid, like that. That's good. Um,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I have a lovely life. Yes.
yeah. Well, I was gonna
I
ask about.
love my work. I love my work.
Yeah. No, no. I mean, it sounds amazingly. Uh, I mean, obviously, if you can see things, it's the ultimate preventative. Maybe that's the word we don't have yet in psychicdom, like a preventative medical medium. Because yeah, that's kind of the unique thing I'm really picking up here. Um, talk to me about this. You mentioned that the guides you don't do like the Edgar Casey sleeping prophet thing or the scribbling, um, but you do have the blinking come on. I mean, would you say you're going into a different? Are you always in this place where you're all now, or is there like an altered state you go to? What is your take on that? Like, would people look at you and be like, "Oh, she's in a different place right now. She's like
So when
chant."
I'm working, I'm in a trance state, and when I'm not working, I'm not in a trance state.
Okay, so there is
Yeah.
okay, got it. That's good. Okay, that makes sense. Um, yeah, these blinks are fascinating. I'm still now. A question for you about that actually. I've heard you mention that you've used the term in your book activation, and on this interview you've talked about like putting your hand on the ailment and it resolving. Um, what are the various ways that you're able to heal something? I mean, can you do you need to put your hands? Can you just do it through your eyes? Is it always through prayer? Like how do you actually make the healing process happen?
It's through the Holy Spirit and activating the energy healing through the person wanting to go into the higher dimensions, the 5th dimension and beyond. And I have belief that if you want to accept that healing, it can be through Skype, it can be through a telephone call, it can be in person at an event, in a room through our virtual events. You don't have to be called on. We do co-healing in the room. Yesterday we had a couple of people healed in our class. Um, it's through really, I even have an exercise in there that shows people it's through really just telling the energy in your body you want it out of you and really saying it with conviction. So I teach people how to do this on their own, through movements of your hands and grabbing the energy and throwing it off of you and telling it to leave you. So this is a
Yeah.
practice I've been teaching now for a few years and it's really fun and cool. But people like me to do it. They like to see me in person and have me lay hands on them and throw it off. But you can learn to do it too. And that's the classes that I'm going to start really now that COVID is stopped, not so aggressive. I can start teaching again live in LA, but also you'll be able to stream it from your home and watch it and learn to do it. But this is probably my next book will be all about teaching and more if I write another book about teaching yourself,
Yeah.
laying on surgical teaching, hands-on healing, and getting this energy off us, because the energy really is all dis-ease is energy. And we can,
Mm.
I've taken off multiple lumps off my throat and breast and healed myself of my condition, like how I'm sitting up right now and talking, and through the Holy Spirit. And as many other people you've heard, like I like to say, Dispenza, he healed himself through the Holy Spirit. I know some people say they've healed themselves, but I can't give myself credit because I have not healed myself. The energy of the higher power healed me, but I accepted the healing. So I can tell when someone walks in my office or I get on a Skype with someone instantly if they will be healed. I know right away when I meet somebody if they will be healed. I know it like right away.
Really?
Yes,
That's something I have not. Okay, now that's interesting. So you'll know if they'll be healed. Uh,
I do know because I know when someone has faith. I know when they're all the way in, and I know that they're ready to go into the fifth dimension, because it's not just, it's like almost like being married. It's like, when you're all the way in or not. When you're all the way. Like I know when the world right now is not all the way in. They're
yeah.
halfway in and you're bouncing, and we're not perfect, we're human. So if you're going to have a healing with someone like me, you have to be ready to be all the way in, because after you're healed, you can't bounce back to third dimension. You've got to do the exercises, the meditation, and also, how are you going to live in your house? How are you going to live? How is this is a new revolutionary way of working in the fifth dimension. This has to do with your water, your food, your sink, your bathroom, and like you said, going to a party. So, do I go to parties? I mean, what do I do? How does Kimberly live? But you don't have to live like me. But when I go to a party, how do I go to a party? What do I do at
Hmm.
a party? I'm just like giving you like a funny example. So
No,
when
no, it's a great. It is a great question, though. I mean,
like when I go to a party, what do I do? Like what do I wear? How do I what do I do around my body? Like what does she what how, like, you know what I mean? So like what I'm
yeah.
saying to you is like we live in a third dimensional world that is shifting rapidly into the fifth dimension. We have to, or we're going to depopulate. We only have 10 years left.
10 years. Oh my gosh! Wait, what is this 10-year thing now? 10 years? Wait a minute. What is your diagnosis? Oh gosh, am I getting some? I don't know. This is interesting intel. What do you mean by 10 years? Are you allowed to say it?
Okay, they're counting less. We have less years than 10.
Oh my! Now look, I keep hearing something about 2030. People tell me. What are they telling you?
We have to take care of our planet. We have to act now.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
important. Yes. We have to get rid of our plastic. We have to start really helping our brothers and sisters to awaken to the fifth dimension.
Yes, get it in all stores. Kimberly Meredith, holy moly.
I love you. I love you, Greg.
Oh my gosh, wait a sec. 10 years? Oh, these guys are. That is a scary moment. Has it?
Yeah, we have to start really, taking care of our bodies, taking care of our brothers and sisters, getting rid of all of our plastic, joining organizations out there that, are really helping the world, like Rewild. That's a really great organization.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think and what's also interesting to me is that you. I'm just like still thinking about this date blinking in my head. Like,
We have, we're, we have to start helping our earth. It's really important.
Yeah. And I mean, it's an interesting balance, right? There's like your book talks about helping the earth, helping your body, but also going internal. That's a lot of these. It's a big theme that comes up. It's something that I believe in deeply, going inside and really doing the work in there. Um,
Well,
y-
yeah, I mean, if you want to cut back on your hormone problems, cancer, immune suppressed diseases, um, we have to drink better water. And the problem is going on, right now with pandemic issues and everything else, it's coming from our climate crisis that's happening. So, in one of my chapters, when you pick up my book or the audiobook, it's really important to look at all of these things that I'm talking about in that chapter, which is water can save your life.
yeah. Tell me this. I mean, I'm in Brooklyn. They say it's the best tap water in they say New York City has the best tap water in some of the cities in the world, but what do the guides say? Do I still need a filter?
Say that every city around the whole entire globe has the best tap water, and every city has fluoride and bleach in it. And
Yeah.
I'm online all day around the country with everyone that's coming up with all types of different immune suppressed conditions and cancers. So if you have tap water and you can't afford to get mineral water, then you just need to get a filter on your sink, please. And then if you can afford it, it's great to have mineral water. Mineral water is just amazing for the body and it gives you a lot of nutrients. So, um, but please do get a filter, and especially on your showers so you can breathe in good steam in your lungs. So that would be really great.
Yeah.
And we don't want to get plastic bottles anymore because that's ruining our environment and it leaches resin in our system. We want to save our body. We want to live to 103.
We do, though. I'm definitely not if this 10-year timeline is going to come true.
No,
Um
we're gonna save our planet. We're gonna save our universe.
yes, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of that. Wait, you know what I have to ask you about now? The guides. I want to know. Well, first of all, I know in your book you talk about how when you say Holy Spirit and even when you say Christ consciousness, I mean, you speak in Hebrew. This isn't denominational, right? This is like a kind of a catch-all. It's not right. I don't know. Yeah. What is the Holy Spirit versus maybe a more Judeo-Christian understanding when people say those terms?
It's not a religion of any sort. It's just it's the omnipresent coming through. The Holy Spirit is the highest spirit uh, consciousness,
Yeah.
energy. It's a miraculous energy coming through us, connecting to us, bringing us peace to our global universe, saying, honor, honor, honor the Holy Spirit. So we can honor everybody. We're not honoring the Holy One. So I was raised in a Jewish home where we honored God. We honored this beautiful energy. And so when we honor God and we honor the beautiful Holy One, then God will honor us. And then we can have peace on earth. We can raise our global consciousness and have freedom. But if we don't do this soon, then we can't have this global peace and freedom.
Yeah. I came from a Jewish home too. I love it. Um, but yes, I know what you mean. I mean, at a certain point, you put the books down, you put the tradition, and you go. There's something even greater than our interpretation, which is actually experiencing spirit, and letting spirit move through you. And I also know that you've talked about star seeds and extraterrestrials. Um, are they on the same wavelength as Holy Spirit? Is it all kind of pointing in the same direction? How do you interpret that?
The star seeds, the crystals, the galactic federation, like the whole globe.
Yeah,
Uh, I do believe they are. They're blinking 555. I do believe there's a global conscious awareness with, I can't say that they're not here because I've had experiences. I have. They have come in contact with me. I would be misleading to say they have, misleading people to say they have not, but at my events, they have shown up.
Then what do you mean? Do they show up as orbs? Do they show? Have you met like a extraterrestrial that's
I
showing
have.
up?
I have.
Oh, now that's very interesting.
I have. I have.
Did they get what?
We'll save that for another show. This is our cliffhanger. If you
Wait a
want,
minute.
if you want me,
Yeah.
if you want,
I think I do. I want to know about you meeting extraterrestrials at other shows. All right, this is or at other events. Yeah, this is fascinating. Okay, well, look, stay tuned to find out more about Kimberly Meredith meeting an extraterrestrial. In the meanwhile, you can purchase Awakening to the Fifth Dimension, available in all bookstores. I got a copy right here, wherever fine books are purchased these days. And, you have your show. You can go to thehealingtrilogy.com, which makes me go, whoa, is this like part one of the trilogy? Is that a tease? Or what is the Healing Trilogy? What will people find on the healingtrilogy.com?
yeah, thehealingtrilogy.com. And right there, you can find out how to do a session with me. I also have a mentorship program, events, and the book is being sold everywhere right now. Barnes and Noble, Amazon. We're also doing a beautiful Barnes and Noble event, the 20th year anniversary at the Grove in Los Angeles. I'm super excited about that.
That's great. That's great. Okay, before we go, 10-year timeline. What what do the guides say is the most important action? And I don't just mean like save the planet. I mean like what's one tangible action that the guides are telling you right now that any listener can take who's listening to this that will ensure we're good in 10 years time?
I would say never, ever, ever drink out of a plastic container, a plastic bottle again. Don't drink any plastic ever again. Just go to glass or steel grade. Also will help your hormones, help you from not getting cancer. Just throw on a filter on your sink and shower and look into like Mountain Valley spring water. That's a great drink. Also, a good friend of mine is Adam McKay. He wrote a book called Don't Look Up.
Oh, yes.
There's a link to Don't Look Up that has a lot of information about what you can do for the globe. That's a great thing to do. And read my book. My book has a lot of information about all of this stuff also, and how to boost your immune system.
Yes, take care of your body, take care of the
Yes.
earth, and take care to listen for when Kimberly's coming back on because we're going to talk about her meeting an extraterrestrial, which I'm very curious about. Yes, Kimberly Meredith, the medical intuitive, the miraculous medical intuitive, medium, medical media. Yeah, you're all these things, but yeah, a channel for the Holy Spirit. I greatly appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you. Much love to you and everybody else.
Thank you, Kimberly.